we certainly weren't happy that Jamal wasn't out there, but it was great to have Jamil out there, and his energy helps. And I think, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk a little bit about being out there at halftime with Eric. It's the first halftime I think I've been on the field for in 20 years. And I thought it was important that I be there to at least start the ceremony as the person on the staff who was here with Eric. And it's an emotional thing for me to do it, to present him with the sword, to present him with the number up in the stadium now, and then to be able to start the video. A lot of really special people from his life were able to be a part of that ceremony by videotape, and I thought that was great. I know he appreciated it. I'm looking forward to seeing him after here a little bit and critiquing his speech, which I did not get a chance to see just yet. So I'll have my turn as well. But to go back to the game a little bit, the crowd support was tremendous, whether it was for the game or for Eric. I was really, really excited about what our students were able to produce. Another offside penalty, delay of game type situation for the other team. And then on special teams, we scored. And when you're playing at a high level on defense and special teams, you score. And Karan Pratt steps in. Jeremy gets dinged up a little bit on that first kickoff return. Karan goes right in there, very well executed kickoff return, but he hit it where he should have hit it. And he's never done that in college football. He's never had a return in college as of yet. So to take the first one back to the house and score, it was certainly a big play in the game. And not surprising at all. And it doesn't surprise me that he takes one back for a touchdown. It doesn't surprise me that he runs down on a punt and makes a tackle. None of it surprises me because he prepares as well as any player in our program. He is an elite level preparer, the likes of Devin and Jason McCourty, Logan Ryan, those type of people. And he did a tremendous job today on special teams, for sure. We still got to be a little bit more consistent in the kicking game, and that we're not pleased with. The punting, at times, Nick has done a great job, and at times, he's had some punts that he certainly would like to have back. He had two of them today that were subpar for him. He has the ability to do it. He's got to do it on a consistent basis. And when Kyle goes out there, we expect him to make the field goals. We put him in positions where we know he can make it from the distance, and we expect him to make those. And I know he expects to make them as well. Questions?
You up there and Gary Nova's status and situation?
I don't know right now what his status will be for the upcoming week. He could not return in the second half. He was not available to us really from the second quarter or midway through the first quarter. I'm not sure exactly when I got notified. It might have been after the first drive, I guess it would have been, because then the second drive was the kickoff return. So at that point, he was not available to us. They reevaluated him at halftime, and he was not available to us for the second half.
Kyle, can you tell us what happened to him?
I got to see it on film. I really don't know just yet, but I'll look at it on film, and we'll figure out exactly what it is.
How did Chase come out in your? How did Chase left? I mean, after not playing for 16 games.
You know what? I'm going to wait until I look at the film to evaluate it. I know Chase wants to be more productive. That's the part you can see during the game. We're not as productive as we needed to be. We can't get sacked 3 times. There are things that happen, but I know for sure that one of the sacks was a busted protection he had no chance on. So that certainly was not his issue. But we got to look at the other 2 and see where we had chances to complete some balls that we didn't, and move the team a little bit better.
Kyle, did how you approached the game offensively change after Nova went out?
It doesn't change initially. I think then you have to see if you're able to maintain the type of flow and rhythm that we had in the first drive. Because we had we come out and then in the first drive of the game, we did not have great field position. We did not have the wind. We started on the -13, and then 8 plays later, we ended up in the end zone. So it was a very well-executed drive. So we had a good rhythm in the first drive. Then there is no second drive because of the kickoff return. And then we struggled to find our rhythm. We get the ball in the +30 and come away empty. Those are the things that really frustrate you as a coach. We have to execute better. When you get the ball, your defense or special teams give you the ball in a +30, you have to think touchdowns. And we did that last week, and we weren't able to do it this week, so we got to figure out why. Then 5 plays and a punt, 4 plays and a punt in the first half. So in the second half, we ripped off a few runs, but I think we're going to have to examine everything we did, decide if it's the best thing to do with the personnel we have going forward, which we're not sure exactly what our personnel will be, and then put together the best game plan we can to be 1-0 next week.
Kyle, without Jamal Morrell, how did that change things at linebacker and what you try to do defensively?
It changes the people. Quentin Gauze plays more. Davon Jacobs plays more. So certainly those things get changed a little bit. Jamal is one of the better players on our defense. When you remove him, you're losing a lot of experience and a lot of game experience, and it's not easy to replace. So I thought Davon and Quentin played better as the game went on. We're fortunate to have a guy like Kevin Snyder who can play multiple positions at a high level. And when a team rushes the ball 40 times and only gains 38 yards by the end of the game, you've done a pretty good job. Now, there's certainly things on defense we got to do better. We got to look at our pass defense and see how we can keep so many balls from being completed.
A lot of faces on the defensive line. How would you assess their play today?
It's always tough before you look at the film. I could tell you the guys that I saw flash during the game. I see a guy like Isaac Holmes with a TFL. I saw Darryl Stevenson with a TFL, which was great because Darryl's a guy who's just starting to play more and more for us. I think Dewani Mera continues to be a consistent performer for us, and that's critical. Marcus Thompson, 1.5 sacks. I mean, each of the first 3 games, he's had a sack at least. And that's not easy to do, and I'm sure that teams are going to give him more and more attention as the year goes on. So those are the things I saw live. David Maluski, he energizes the entire defense just by the way he plays. So they're a strength of our team, and they give us a chance to win every week.
We expect this as a norm from Paul James now? I mean, are we at that point?
I'm very pleased with Paul, and to consistently create big plays in the running game is what you want. When you look at the running game, there's certain things you look at. You got to eliminate negative runs. He's done a good job with that. You want to create big plays in the run game, which means you have to break a tackle at some point, usually, and he's done that. So now he's got a body of work 3 games long, and he certainly has earned the right to be the starter, and he's earned the right to get the opportunity to carry the ball quite a bit. So I'm excited about it, and I think going forward now next week will be an even bigger challenge to do it against an SEC defense and a group that's going to come in here knowing a little bit about Coach Belima. I'm sure he will come in here with a desire to run the ball and stop the run just like we do.
Kyle, I know you'll watch the film, put Dallas at center. Any initial thoughts on what
Very
you saw?
pleased. Very pleased. I thought Dallas operated well at center. We had one snap issue where I believe the snap was early. I'm not completely sure if it was or not, but it created a penalty for us. But to have one in the game, I thought he operated the game very smoothly, and I think that's critical when you go in there without having get battle tested in games and actually missing a day of practice this week because of a death in his family. For him to be able to go out and perform like that, I'm proud of him, and I'm excited for him. And we needed him to do it today, and he stepped up.
So I'm sorry, but what kind of injury did Gary suffer?
I haven't talked to the doctors yet, so I'm not even going to discuss it. I got to look at the film, and then I want to speak to the doctors and the trainers.
Time of possession as well, obviously 22 minutes, only ran 42 plays. But in the 8 years you've been here, 9 years, I think, do you remember only attempting to shoot 13 passes in the game? I know it was dictated by certain
Sure.
things, but just in terms of the number?
I don't know. Yeah, it's certainly a low number. I would not have gone in. I don't know if I would go into any game thinking that we would attempt 13 passes. We don't do that. We want to be balanced, and whether that's 60-40 run pass or 60-40 pass run or anything in between, I think that's a pretty balanced offense. So I wouldn't have expected that. The time of possession, I don't fixate on it much because nobody's ever given me a statistic where it equates to wins. And when you have a kickoff return that goes for a touchdown, that's a possession that you don't have. And when you have big plays in the run game that go for touchdowns, those are possessions that get shortened for good reasons. So the time of possession, I don't fixate on. The 13 passes, though, I would not have gone into the game thinking that would have been the result.
Got time for 2 more? That said, Kyle, does that put extra emphasis on Paul James's performance? I mean, did he step up even further given the fact that you didn't pass the ball that much?
I think it might be the other way around. I think because he stepped up, we didn't pass the ball as much. I think those drives get shortened, and they land in the end zone before you need to attempt those passes on 3rd down or second and 5, whatever they might be.
Now, since the team hasn't really been able to pass the ball much since Fresno State, do you want to try to put more emphasis on that before conference play starts next week, or do you just kind of keep going with what works?
No, I think every week we have a game plan trying to be 1-0. When I'm not looking ahead to conference play, we are completely fixated at this moment on trying to be 1-0 next week when Arkansas comes to town. It'll be a tremendous challenge for our program, and we'll have a lot of work to get ready for that game. And then when that's over, then we'll worry about the next one.